the bottom line is humans are humans.
Yeah.
And we're just in the world of collision repair. I am a human trying to talk another human into giving me their keys so that I can fix their car.
Yeah.
And so it really just comes down to those communications and taking our agenda off the table, which I'm one of those people that comes to the table immediately with an agenda. It's just, I've had my agenda, and you have to learn for the consumer, I got to take that agenda off the table because they're not in a space to handle that. They just need to know that it's going to be okay.
Right.
That's it. That's all I want to know.
Right. So in your class that you did last night, was it more, were you giving them word tracks or kind of like how to read people?
So you've got 2 hours. That's what I always tell people. It's a 1 week psychology course, and we're going to narrow it down to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we set up I go through the Accenture research of what the consumers said they wanted, what they felt businesses should be doing for them in a post-COVID environment. And then we talked about there's 6 key conversational skills. And that if I can lead with these, it's real easy to be biased towards somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
So the more impersonal I make something, if you don't have a name, if you're not Mickey, if you're just like, I don't like people that do podcasts. It's real easy to say, I don't like this. It's hard to say, I don't like Mickey. Like, we're like, but I like Mickey, right?
Right.
So the more personal that we make things, the better we get to know people, the more empathy that we have.
Of course. Yeah.
And we've gotten into this industry where our relationships with the consumers are very transactional. They're also becoming impersonal because we think technology is what we need. I need a texting service. I need a messaging service. I need to be hands off so that I can do more of this. And we really need to be more hands on. So I need to spend more time talking to the consumer, and we gave them some conversation skills because I'm like, I promise you, when you get to know them, you'll do your job better.
Yeah.
It'll just be natural, but you'll do your job better when you get to know them. When that customer, I tell all the shops we consult, when the customer leaves your lobby, I want you to be able to tell me 3 things about them. And it can't be about the car. I want you to tell me 3 things about them. And if you can just get to where you can tell me 3 things, I promise you're going to service them better.
Yeah.
I promise they're going to mean more to you. It's going to be like taking care of your mom's car at that point. But if it's just the Camry, it doesn't matter to me. So I have to make it not the Camry. I have to make it Mary who owns the Camry. That's what I got to get to.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because as you were talking, I was thinking of so many shops I've worked with, and they don't refer to the guest by name. It's the 97 Cadillac, it's the vehicle. And it's interesting because it's like, it's totally taking the personality, the relationship out of it. But like you said, it just becomes transactional. It's what we got to do for the process and the procedures. And it's like, I feel like we're missing something here.
When I was a kid growing up, my dad used to joke that he can't remember people's names, but he could remember every car he worked on. And he was right because he was a tech, and that was how he saw the world. His filter was the vehicle and the time and energy that he put fixing the car.
Yeah.
And to be successful, to actually interface with a customer, but not be the technician in the back to fix the car, then I have to connect with a customer. And that's why we have 2 roles. We have a front office in the shop and we have a back office. My back techs can refer to everything like a car. My front office, everything is a person.
Right.
And we do that. Like, we'll call an insurance company for a supplement. And as soon as the adjuster answers, we give them the claim number. We don't personalize anything. And we go through our morning meetings. It's all a make model car or a year model of a car.
Right.
And we've forgotten it. And we've let technology, because of the way a management system serves us up our in-queue or in-process work, we lost our touch points, I think, on our side. And we've trickled that over to losing touch points with the customer. But the only thing I have to offer that makes me different, everybody's got a frame machine. Everybody's got certificates that they can hang on the wall or certifications that can hang on the wall. The only thing that makes me different is me in the front office, is the human nature or the human aspect that I give to another consumer. And if I'm not giving anything different, then there's no reason for the consumer to connect with me. I might as well connect with the insurer because I have more tangible connections to the insurer than I do to the body shop.
Yeah.
I think one of the statistics last night the shops were surprised to hear is in the insurance side, we used to survey customers to see how long they remember the name. These were the DRP shops.
Okay.
Because if we were going to have DRP relationships as an insurer, we wanted to control the relationship. Yeah. We wanted the loyalty of the consumer. And we thought, well, if we're just sending them straight to a body shop, we're going to lose the loyalty.
Right.
And if I lose the loyalty, they'll lose my market share and then, all this. So we studied that a lot. And the results were 4 months after a repair, just 4. The consumer can't remember the name of the body shop that fixed their car.
Wow.
And we didn't make a personal connection. We transactionally serviced that repair, and we might have done it very well. We might have got a 10 on our CSI score.
Right.
But we weren't memorable.
Yeah.
And if I can't be memorable, I'm not sustainable.
Totally.
So, I think we've talked technically too long to this industry. It's probably time to stop. And I'm guilty because I'm the let's talk OE repairs and procedures and whatever.
Right.
But it's probably time to just start talking human again. Let's just focus on being humans, and we'll sort the rest out later.
Your policy, when someone else is liable, should not go against you because your company is going to subrogate, which means get their money back from the other company. Your company's not out any money. So where's the loss?
Right. Right. Well, and I know personally, because I just went through an auto accident with my own insurance, they take what I have to say to heart. And when I kick back as the insured, they listen. They're more likely to listen to me, and I can kick back. And I know I want this vehicle repaired to OE specifications. I want a Jaguar certified shop, They listen to me. The other girl that hit me, she's got USAA, and they couldn't give two craps what I want.
No.
Really?
And because here's what we talked a little about this earlier. Here's what drives me insane about most body shops. Not knowing the difference between the power of a first party and a third party claim.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
We'll use you for an example.
Okay.
Mickey's hitting her Jag by USAA.
Right.
USAA doesn't owe Mickey a dime. And people will go, what do you mean? Yeah. Susie, insured by USAA, hit Mickey. So USA owes Mickey. No. USA owes Susie. Susie owes Mickey. Susie's the insured. There's no contractual obligation for USA to pay you a dime. And most of the time, what they'll do is, so they don't have to get involved, is they'll make it difficult for you and push you to your own insurance company so they don't have to deal with you. Right. And then through subrogation, I call it collusion, but that's just my opinion. But once they get together, they wash each other's back and massage each other and go, okay, well, let's do this and let's do this. And then they settle it. But you should always get your deductible back. And your as we said, your rates could go up, but they shouldn't, because your company gets the money back.
Right.
But you have control under a claim only under your own policy. Right.
That makes sense. So one thing to point out too, backtracking a smidge bit to make sure everybody's tracking for those that this is totally new to them. So if you are getting to or let's say your customer, because shop owners and managers are typically listening. So your customer got into an accident. They are the ones that will invoke the appraisal clause. They are the ones that will work directly with Billy or an independent appraiser.
Yeah, whomever.
Yeah. And the insurance company, then it now gets taken out of the insurance company's hands because now they have to hire an independent appraiser separate from them, right? Not in bed with them, does it have to be totally separate?
Yes. What most policies say, some say competent and disinterested. Some say competent. Some just say competent. And the competent and disinterested, I see that a little bit, but most is competent. But the whole reason, and way back in the day when I first started this company, especially in North Carolina, because that's where I founded my company, USA, when they invoked the appraisal clause, USA would use their own appraisers.
Wow, that's what I was wondering.
Very bold. They would say that the policy says competent appraiser. Our appraiser's competent.
Wow.
So there's a couple things that we did to tweak them. I would say each must bear the burden of their independent appraiser. So I would say, send me a copy of the check that you were sent, that you were paid to handle this claim separately from your standard job.
Right.
What?
Huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
Can't put put an undue burden on your insured and make them pay for an appraiser, and you're not paying separately for appraiser if he's already on the payroll. That was one.
Right.
Two, what we started doing is like, okay, you want to play that game? My father-in-law, Ronnie Packett, Pack Brothers, is the appraiser for this lady under the appraisal clause. What? Well, if you're going to use your appraiser, the body shop's going to use the body shop owner.
Right.
Yeah. So that shut them down real quick.
Yeah.
And I think there was a couple attorneys that we worked for that says the reason for the appraisal clause is to level the playing field.
Right.
And that defeats the whole purpose if you're going to use your own appraiser in the appraisal clause. So they stopped doing that in North Carolina about 5 years ago.
It's a total conflict of interest. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we even invoking this thing then?
Well, I'm doing that in Canada right now because I'm having to educate a country. Imagine that. So it's taken me 13 years to do what I've already done in North America, which people know about it.
Right.
No one's ever invoked the appraisal clause in Canada because they didn't know what it was.
Holy cow.
And they are fighting me. I've got one claim that's been going on for 6 months. I probably got 35 to 40 emails back and forth with the customer because the customer has to talk to the insurance company. So I have to tell the customer what to say, and the insurance company says it to them, and then the customer sends it back to me, and I'll tell them what to say.
Right.
Because they'll say they have to get a copy of my report. Okay, if you're playing pokers and you're playing Texas Hold'em, do you turn your cards over?
Right.
No. No, you're not getting my report, and there's nothing in the policy that says they do. Liberty Mutual right now is the number one offender of that. I will tell you, they must have had a class about 6-8 months ago that says, get the report from the other appraiser before you hire an appraiser. And I said, okay, well, that's not in the policy. It's our procedure. Then I have to break it out again. Do you know the difference between a procedure and contract law?
Right.
Anything outside of that contract is unfair and deceptive trade practice. And I have to send that to the customer to send, and it finally gets kicked up the chain. And they go, whoa, what are you doing? You can't make the customer send you Billy's report. There's nothing that says that the appraiser has to send the report to the insurance company.
Right.
But some manager up said, hey, if we get a copy of what he's got, then we'll hire the guy. We know what he's got before we do everything, and we'll tell our guy what to say. And that's exactly what they were trying to do.
Of course.
We're not stupid. So that's happening a lot, and it takes years of self-educating. I mean, I'm self-taught.
Oh, yeah.
No one, I followed my father-in-law, and I bless him every day for the opportunity to do what I do and for teaching me this. But all the laws and statute and all that, it took me getting kicked in the face and getting thrown down the street and losing, every once in a while, to where I had to educate myself to what I could do and what I couldn't do.
Absolutely. Well, and as you know, every state is different. And so that must be really tricky for you too, trying to figure out, okay, what state am I in today? What are the laws here? What is the policy with this? Because there's so many variables. I would imagine on your end, that can get pretty tricky.
Yeah. And I have to know the policy language. The great thing about North Carolina is we're a uniform policy state. So every policy is identical. It's an ISO standard policy. Every other state, I think there's a couple states out there that have uniform policies. But what I do is I collect policies. Anytime I do a claim in another state, and once I get that appraisal clause language, I put it in my iPhone and I put appraisal clause language, Iowa Progressive, or appraisal clause Vermont USAA,
right?
Or whatever that appraisal clause in that state, and I've got them in my phone.
Yeah.
Then also there's a law firm that publishes a list of every total loss law in the United States and every diminished value case law in the United States and every statute of limitations in the United States.
Wow.
So I keep those three sources on my phone.
Yeah.
Because anybody's in it. So I know what the statute of limitations is on diminished value or any property damage by looking on that. I know what the case law is on diminished value, and I know what the appraisal clause, what the total loss law is in that state. And one of my little pet peeves is when I do some of my seminars, I go out and do stuff for BASF and micro and actually go into body shops and teach on how I do a post-collision repair inspection and do quality control. And it amazes me sometimes at some of the events that BASF or AllData or some of these guys will get me to do. And I'll ask the audience, 30 body shop owners. I'm like, how many know what the total loss law is in your state? And the last one I did, I think I did it for BASF and micro, and we were in St. Louis, and there was Kentucky, Illinois, and Indiana there. Out of 35 guys, 2 guys raised their hands. And one of the guys said he knew was wrong. Because Illinois has no total loss law. Missouri.
Okay.
And Kentucky is 75%, and Indiana, I think, is 75%. But I did one in Ohio. There was 45 guys in the room, and no one raised their hand.
Wow.
I mean, how you work? I mean, I know Mitchell and ADP, Autotext, and CCC1 give you a threshold, but how do you not know if there's a law when you're working on a car to see if the vehicle's totaled?
Yeah, that's really interesting. They must just be using those tools to decide then if it's not the law. So what changes then if they know the law? Well, would it change? You think they'd be repairing more vehicles?
I think that they would be more educated to help the customer, because if the customer wants it totaled under a claimant when they get to that threshold, or they wouldn't call me to fight when there is no law, because Texas is 100%. Florida, there is no law. So you can't. So shops and consumers shops will tell consumers to hire me when they want a vehicle totaled. If it's close.
Okay.
And let's say it's Texas. And they'll go, hey, we're at 75%. So
wow.
Well, you can get it totaled. That's what it is, right? No, it's 100. 100 what? 100%. So there's nothing I can do in Texas to get a vehicle totaled unless the repairs costs equal 100%.
Right.
Now, here's something that body shops and consumers need to know as well. Under a first-party claim, an insurance company can total at will.
Right. And now I'd like to tell you that I've been blessed with this thing called time. And so one of the things when I have been, one of the things I'll tell you is somebody asked me recently, why do I wear a lot of stuff like a baseball hat or a T-shirt that says Marines on it? Because I buried some really good men, some of the best men I ever knew, and they didn't get the opportunity of time. And so I remind myself with those kinds of things that I have to be my best every day because they don't get the chance. My point to this is, when you ask me about the Marines, shop owners in every industry have to be brave enough to be the point of the spear. We have to lead the charge for what's right, for what's just, for what's fair. And I think that when we do that, the market will almost automatically start to come to you. You don't have to do a whole lot of advertising. And when we do those things, it's priceless. It's priceless. And what I was going to say with time is there was a time when I first started in this industry. I was 23 years old when I opened Sharp Auto Body.
Wow.
I started in a one-car garage with no heat, no running water, my toolbox, and a 12-inch masking machine, $500. That's what I started Sharp Auto Body with. I'm the American dream. But I can tell you that back in those days, all you had to do was hang out a shingle and people would come through the door. Well, those days are gone. And my biggest complaint with body shop owners is they're too damn lazy. Get off your ass and go out and do some work called marketing. Right? You don't need a DRP. If you learn a little bit about marketing, if people like you, the company that you run, people like me, what we're sharing is things that'll get them there a whole lot faster, a whole lot easier than doing all the other wacky stuff that they think has to be done, called DRPs or used parts and aftermarket parts, because there is a way. And here's what's really powerful, right? If you have a dream or a goal and nobody in the world's accomplished it, then you're really up against it. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but you're really up against it being the first. But I can tell you that there are shop owners like myself, like Walt, who are running their businesses very profitably with very happy employees, with satisfied clients, making money every day. Yeah. And so it's possible. Yeah. So give up the excuses of I can't, I won't, the insurance company won't let me, blah, blah. All that is just excuses. It's just trash talking to yourself. And that's why I said you got to almost start with the owner's mindset, right? Because they got to get out of that. To your point, it's woo to love. Okay, then you spend the rest of your life yelling at people. And here's what I've learned. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're yelling at your employees at the shop, you're going home and yelling at your wife and kids. Right. So your life isn't pretty anywhere. Yeah. And the only place to look is in the mirror, because the only person responsible for fixing it all is you.
Yes. Wow. That was so good. I feel like we need to rewind it, like for that last minute and a half, whatever that was, starting with the time. the time component. You have time. So many people don't have time. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We're blessed with today. We're blessed with the now. What are we going to do with that? It's so powerful. And we gloss over it. Like we think we're just going to live forever. Like everybody has we live the dash. This day to this day, and we live the dash. And whatever that dash is, make the best of it, make the most of it. That was the way you said that was so beautiful. And then also the excuses. Everybody's got excuses why they can't. No, it won't work for me. Ho hum. You hear it, I'm sure. And when do we get to the point where enough is enough? Enough excuses.
Right. And I can tell you, one of my favorite quotes is by Jim Rohn. You can't let other people do your push-ups for you. I can tell you.
You can't let other people do your push-ups for you. I love that.
Right. And or you can't even hire somebody to do your push-ups. But one of the things, when I consult people, I have a money-back guarantee. Money-back guarantee. I guarantee they're going to make 10% more profit and 20% more time off in 90 days, or I give them their money back.
Wow.
But here's what I want you to understand, Mickey. I want you to understand something. I have a very, very good vetting process. Because I'm only going to work with people. I guarantee you're going to get there if you're willing to do the push-ups.
That's right.
If you've never had a coach, if you never hired a Mickey and her company to help you grow your business through their marketing strategies, if you've never done any of those things, I'm not working with you. I don't want the virgin. Because the virgin's going to think I'm going to wave some magic wand or send them some pills in a jar, and they're going to take the pills, and bam, they're going to wake up 90 days from now and things are going to be better.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Yes, that's right. Well, they understand the value. They truly understand the value of what you're bringing to the table. And I run into that same thing in my marketing company. Some people get it and some people don't. And that's okay. Everybody has their choice. But like you said, if I'm investing all of me into you, then I want you to understand the value of what I'm bringing to the table and be bought in, because we're in this together. And you clearly have the same mindset, which I already knew because I love you. You're awesome.
And you bring up a very valid point. And part of it, they look at it as an expense instead of an investment.
Exactly.
And one of the things that's amazing about people like you is your network. So if I invest in your company to help you grow my business, I've now just tapped into a bunch of other people in the industry that you could connect me to that I might be struggling with something else.
Yes.
And there's that added value that people don't see in the power of that relationship.
Yeah.
Again, it's that love thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're loving on your clients because you see it as a team effort. And that's how I see it too. We're all in this thing together.
Yeah.
And when everybody wins, everybody wins. And now because of that love, you're going to share your network with them. The Barrett Smiths that and the Waltz and the other people that have gone from one shop to multiple shops, or how they transitioned out, or their exit strategy. You've got, I forget his name. I was on his podcast. He's going to hate me, but he's on the cocktail. He's on the cocktail hour.
Rick.
I can see.
Rick Felder.
Yeah. And even people like that. So that's what you get when you connect with people like you, who are amazing, because you're already playing this life game at a higher level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, how do I navigate these waters? How do I build the right systems that continue to allow me to have leadership capacity? How do I develop my team? And how do I get or maximize my systems and make them more efficient?
Right. Well, and it kind of, as you're saying that, it's reminding me that oftentimes we have this idea of what we would like it to be. But the tricky part is, how do you get there? What does that look like? That's the hardest part, really.
Yeah.
I think
it really is. It's interesting. However, we do find that a lot of times people they've started organizations, businesses, they're growing and developing, and they might have thought they had an understanding of the vision of where they were going. But a lot of times they have to kind of back up a little bit and just reframe that and dial in and get really clear on it, because probably they're going to have to make some tough decisions along the way that doesn't line up with where they really want to get to. And so they have to, kind of get clear on the identity, who you are, where you're going, how you want to get there, what you want that to look like, so that, again, in the process, the businesses isn't overrunning the leaders. The leaders are running the business, not the business is running them. And so that vision and clear culture is really has to be a strong foundation. And then from there, what are the gaps in their own leadership? And we all have them. Nobody's without those weaknesses that we need to figure out what they look like and how do we work on those. And we really kind of approach it from the perspective of confidence, competency, and credibility. So I might be really competent in, painting a car, but I might not be so competent in my leadership of leading a team, so that they're doing the work and not so much me. And so just being really clear on that, and how do I need to adjust my leadership? And then how do I fine tune the processes and systems that go along with that? And then ultimately, how do I develop the rest of my team so that, again, we're trying to create high performance teams?
Right. Well, and two totally different things. Being able to do a job really well, that's great, but that doesn't necessarily make you a good leader to lead other people. We're just talking about two totally different things. And a lot of people think, well, because I'm good at this, I'll be a great leader in this. And it's like, actually, no.
Let's see, I guess unashamedly, I have to admit that I found myself in that same role because I've been a leadership coach for several years. But then when I started developing a business for leadership coaching, it was a totally different thing. So I had to get help myself in that process.
Yeah. Yeah. And having some humility in all of that is can sometimes be a little bit tricky. So what do you see so I'm sure you work with clients all across the board, different industries and that kind of thing. Is there one or anything that really like pops to your mind of like something that really kind of gets in the way most often that you could just kind of see recurring over and over again?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think one is that leaders become leaders for a reason. They were usually really good at what they do. And a lot of times when we're so good at what we do, we have a hard time letting go of some of that so that we can move on to a different level.
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah, we struggle with that a lot of times. And again, even from my own personal experience, I became a good coach before I became a good coach and a leader in the coaching industry.
Yeah.
So it's, just kind of trying to, learn how to do that. And one of the biggest things we work with with our clients is what they really should be saying yes to, so that they know what they need to say no to and what that really looks like, and help them through that process.
Yeah. Yeah. Creating that really clear cut path. I work with a lot of, I do marketing for body shops and business development to some degree, not like you, totally different. But I talk with a lot of body shop owners, and I'm a former shop owner myself, and trying to create that path and really get clear on that. Right. I see as just could be such an issue. And like you said earlier, dialing that in, because as you get going and you think you've got it figured out. And that's why I think having some type of coach, and the best coaches have coaches. So having a coach doesn't mean that you're not good.
Right. That's exactly right. We tell our companies that we work with all the time that we're never working with bad organizations. We're just working with good organizations that are trying to get better.
Right.
And so they're never going from bad to good. They're just going from good to better in their processes. I've got a partner named Chad Hall, and when he came on board with me, he helped our organization go to a completely different level. Part of it was just because he knew how to get things out of me that I didn't even know how to get out of myself.
Wow, yeah.
So that became very valuable. And where I might see things and be trying to connect the dots, he knew how to take what I was receiving and where I was trying to go and really fashion that in such a way that it helped me get there the best way possible.
Yeah, I love that. I remember when it dawned on me when I was much older in life, obviously, and I realized that the people out there that I admired so much that I thought were just the best of the best, like the Tom Bradys and the Grant Cardones, these people that have made themselves out of nothing, and all of these types of people, when I found that they had coaches and they still Tom Brady still trains every day with a coach. He's the GOAT. Some would argue. I would, but these are the people that the training doesn't stop. The growth doesn't stop. For me as a business owner, that really just kind of was like a aha moment. And especially in the collision industry, we've been doing what we've been doing for so long. We're starting to open up our minds to, okay, maybe there's a different way to go about this and getting help. We all are ego filled. We think we've got it figured out, and accepting help from anybody, that means I'm weak. There's this persona we've kind of put on ourselves, and that's just self-limiting. It's not true.
Right.
It's actually very strong. I find a big strength in people that realize that, hey, I may be great, I may be good, but I can always be better.
Right. True. That's one of the other issues that we run into a lot of times, is that, again, we were good in performing and maybe even developing the business that we've got. And then we keep thinking that we can still do everything on our own. And we need help. One of the processes that we go through in the holistic process of leadership development is what we call the fifth bridge. And so the fifth bridge starts with your identity. Who are you? What do you want your life to be about? How do you want to guide that? What's the culture going to be? Your values, what's really important to you? And then once you get really clear on that, is helping people understand that whatever it is, you can't get there by yourself. And what got you to where you're at right now is not going to get you where you really want to go.
Isn't that true?
Oh my gosh. So you're going to need some help in that process. And
I like that.
So that's second phase or second bridge that we take them through is just, you're going to need some help. Let's get some help around you. Let's be intentional on what that help looks like and how it's going to really make a difference for you.